guys, Mike McFarland here, the Lake Fork Guide. I'm sitting in McFarland's corner and I'm going to give you a rundown for April 12th, Monday, April 12th. I'm going to back you up to Saturday for the board's sake. I've cleaned last week's off. We were pretty much kind of stabilized and we had a little bit of rain come in at the end of the week. And the lake came up just I want to say maybe 1 inch, half an inch, not even that. But there was a little bit of rise on Saturday. So we had a lake level of 402.71 on Saturday. Let's already drop back down to 402.62, which is basically 1 inch in essence, maybe just a tiny bit more. This is always to the hundredths. In essence, 403 is full pool. 402.50 is 6 inches below full pool. 402.75 is 3 inches below full pool. So, you know, we're really talking maybe an inch, but we're still on the thaw. The clarity is getting better. Lake's settling pretty good. 1 to 2 foot in most places. Maybe not 2 feet, but it's definitely starting to clear up a little bit. Water temperature parameter on Saturday, 63, 65 is as warm as I saw. Today, really warm trending. This is 65 and 67. Okay, 67 degrees in the main lake, down south even. So we're really there, all right? And here's what's happening right now. It is tough fishing right now because the fish are not biting a lot. They're not eating because they are so tied up in the spawn. There is a major amount of fish on beds from one end of the lake to the other. They're up in Birch Creek, they're in the middle lake, they're in the basin, okay? That ice storm held things back to where that now we've got so many fish on beds, you can't see them. They're in 3 to 4 to 5 feet of water. You just can't see them. Most of the bed fish that guys are seeing, the ones that are catching real shallow, your boats are going right over the best fish, 3 to 5 feet, all right? Full moon tonight. As soon as these fish get off of this bed cycle, we're going to have some really hot fishing. And here's why. The shad spawn's already started. I've got herons, I got loons, I've got white egrets, I got everybody stacking on main lake points and main lake shell beds, on red clay areas, on shad spawn areas, and the shad are there. And the shad are flickering, and you can snag the shad, but there's hardly any bass with it because the majority of them are on the spawning beds. Now that's not normal. Okay, normally we'd have a cycle of spawn out in February, a cycle or two spawn out in March, and we'd have more post-spawn fish right now that would begin raiding this shad spawn. But at least on the west side of the lake where I fish, the shad spawn has begun. And as soon as these fish dump eggs tonight, tomorrow, females pull out and recover 2 to 3 days, you're going to see those females start raiding these shad. Once the males get done sitting on the eggs and guarding the fry, they're going to reschool up. And I'm telling you, it's really, really going to be good because the shad are there. The shad are there to be eaten. And the bass are going to come get them. So it's time to break out your square bills, your underspins, top water, baby. It's coming. In fact, one reef that we were on today exploded 2 or 3 different times with the top water. Now, it was probably very likely to be some of the bigger white bass raiding the shad, but we did catch bass from that spot. All right. It was a grind today, but listen, if you stay with it, the big swim bait, the 316 line through, that's what it is, 316. It comes in a clamshell like this. You want to keep this clam. When you're not using this bait, put it back in the clam. Make sure it's dry first, but put it back in the clam. All right? But basically throwing the line through, let me get my rod sock off of here. I'm throwing the line through 316. All right? And I'm telling you, there are other baits on the market, but I know you follow me because of my integrity, and I tell you the truth, this bait absolutely outfishes them. This bait 10 to 1 will outfish all other line throughs. Tried, trued, perfected. I guarantee this. All right? Treble hook hanging on the bottom. So you're going to fish this real shallow. You fish it over the red clay points. You fish it over the shallow reefs. You got to commit to it. All right, you really have to commit to it. If you bounce around and throw this, throw that, throw the square bill, and you half-ass this, which, by the way, Mickey said the other day in a really, really cool, he said, God gave me two ass cheeks because I shouldn't do anything half-ass. So if you go throw this thing half-ass and don't commit to it, you probably aren't going to catch anything. If you stay with it, right now it's one of the best big fish bites, and it's only Gonna get better. What do I throw that on? I throw it on 20-pound test bass on. M-A-S-O-N, Mason bass on. You can throw it on fluorocarbon. It'll get a little deeper in the water column with the fluorocarbon. But I like the mono because I get just enough stretch, low stretch mono, but I get just enough that it really keeps, that mono keeps that bait in the upper water column. I don't want this hitting the bottom. Those treble hooks really tend to catch everything. I want it to hover in the foot and a half range. And that way I can reel it as slow as I possibly can. But I'm throwing this on my signature 7'10" CB 1530. Go see Louie at Real Time Rods. Tell him you need a rod to throw this big swim bait and catch the big fish that it catches. And it's the CB 7'10" 1530. Add the McFarland signatures. You won't regret it. All right. The other bait that I did catch fish on today that I promised with the post spawn is going to be super duper deadly. You're going to hear me talking about the Sandtone football jig and Pake's perch brim colors, okay? Well, this year I'm going to add something that I haven't shared with you. I really don't think I've ever shared it, but we're going to do a Sandtone wobblehead, which is a swing head, half-ounce swing head, and we are going to put the Magnum speed worm, watermelon candy, watermelon red, watermelon seed, any of the brim colors, okay? We're going to do the tail chartreuse. Okay, this is the Magnum speed worm. Has a lot of thump in that tail. It's a large profile bait. I'm going to get offshore now in the 6 to 12 foot shell beds. And I'm going to absolutely swim this on the bottom. I'm going to throw it through and slow roll it. But I'm going to make sure that that tail is thumping. I'm going to make sure that this half-ounce football head striking and bouncing through the shell as it does it. All right, it's a brim color. There's nothing better for post-spawn fish than a big old magical brim. That bite's going to get really, really awesome, and we are going to smoke them. There's going to be some beat downs when these fish school up offshore and start eating those brim. All right, what do I throw that on? Definitely going to throw that on fluorocarbon. I need to feel it. I want to feel the bite. I want to feel sensitive, everything that bait strikes, okay? So I'm going to go 20-pound fluorocarbon. I'm still throwing this on one of my McFarland signatures, real-time rod, the Bushido 7'3", 1530. This is a 6-power rod. This is where the 100 Tatula goes into play. It's a smaller reel, compact, but holds just enough line, and it's an 8-to-1 gear ratio. It allows me to really kick their butt. Okay, so that's how I'm running that. Other than that, you need to just stay the course. If you're bed fishing, man, go slow, slow, slow. When you're pitching Senkos, creature baits, and things like that, kind of pretend in the areas you think you would expect them to bed. Bump the stumps, all right? The key is to pitch it past the stump, hit the stump, and let it sit at the base of the stump. They spawn around the edges of those stumps. So in 3 to 5 feet of water, you're not going to see the nest. You can't go slow enough when you don't see them on the beds. Maybe get in parallel into an area that you know they're bedding, but just go really slow. And again, the other option is just sit tight because the post-spawn bite is on its way. All right, for March, up here on the board, we're doing the big fish of the month. And I don't think I could plan this ever again, but I've got a tie. I have an exact, basically, tie. Both of these fish were 8 pounds, 9 ounces. 8 pounds, 9/8, I think. But I got Bryce, birthday Bryce. God, what a beautiful, gorgeous fish. Gorgeous specimen. Young fish, a short fish, was not an over. And the same thing here with, oh goodness, I'm tired. U.S. Army Sergeant, I believe it's John Youngblood. Right here, this fish was caught on the 316 line through. Bryce caught his fish on the Sandtone 3/4 ounce football jig and Pake's perch. But these two guys are the big fish for the month of March. All right, I could easily call that a 10-pounder, but we won't. I could easily call that a 10-pounder, but we won't. They actually weighed 8 pounds, 9 ounces. Tie for big fish of the month in March. All right, I'm gonna put these up here now. At the end of the year, we will mail that to those gentlemen. Bryce's buddy in the back of the boat was filming when we landed that big fish, and we actually were able to extract this picture, which is one of the coolest pictures and moments that I think I've ever been caught as a fishing guide. Right here in this picture, Bryce is saying, "Let's go!" And I basically took my hand and put it up and said, "Thank you, God. Thank you, Mark Pack." And that moment was caught on camera. Memory of a lifetime. Thanks for fishing with me, Bryce. This one's coming to you, and I actually have my own copies because I want to keep that myself for the rest of my life. Birthday boy Bryce with a big old Lake Fork. All right. All right. So, guys, that kind of is the rundown. I'm fishing every day this week. So, come Wednesday, watch for another rundown. As this kind of materializes and the Shad Spawn bite comes together, you're going to want to follow me because I'm going to tell you there'll be some baits. More than likely, we're going to hit them on the underspins. I think I already said the square bills, chatter baits. It's time to get those baits out. But I'm probably going to get into the topwater bite real quick. And we're going to get that vixen to go to work calling up the big ones. I can't wait to show you all that and talk about it again. Thank you so much for all you do. Please give me some thumbs up if you're enjoying the show. Questions below. Never hesitate to ask me questions. I'll do all I can to get back to you. Subscribe if you haven't. Find me on Facebook. Not my private page. It's full. But my business page, The Lake Fork Adventures Guide Service, okay? The other one is my Instagram, The Lake Fork Guide. Find me on those, friend me on those, and follow me there because you can see a little more daily, throughout the day information. For example, on Instagram, I post sometimes as we catch, and you'll get some on the water testimonies and what's really happening moment by moment, okay? On my business page, The Lake Fork Adventures Guide Service, I'm going to start going live, probably once a month now or more. I'm going to go ahead and go live in some special key locations, like maybe right there at Lake Fork Marina in the Marina store, or maybe another surprise visit to Mickey Ellison 316 Lures. But any which way, find me on those, like me on those pages. I really appreciate y'all. In fact, I love you more than you guys say you love me. I run into you all the time, and you're always saying, "We love you, Mike," and da-da-da-da. Well, without you, there's no me, so I give it right back to you. Thank you so much. I'm Mike McFarland, The Lake Fork Guide, giving you a Lake Fork rundown.